Good evening, my Real News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this evening, woman and elderly man killed in Manchester gun attack. 2 people were shot dead and a man injured in Bigwood district in Cricket on Saturday night, sending shockwaves in the northeast Manchester farming community. Police identified the deceased as 39-year-old Tanisha Burton, otherwise called Browning, and the 74-year-old Wilford Mallison, otherwise called Danny, both residents of Bigwood district. Police said about 10 p.m., residents reported hearing loud explosions in the area. When police arrived at a shop in the area, 3 people were found suffering from what appeared to be gunshot wounds. They were taken to hospital where Mallison and Burton were pronounced dead. The injured man, who was shot in the back and collapsed after running, was admitted for treatment. Police theorized that Burton may have been the intended target of the incident. The incident has left the community in a state of shock. Henry, a resident of Bigwood, said he knew both victims.
He shot into me, I think man in me here. I never know nothing. Because maybe it was after 8 o'clock. And this man, me wake up, me hear one tenant in my yard that tell me what happened. Because I don't live down here, so I wake up. Be good me live. Yeah. So upon the bush, they know me, I'm on a work, so I said, and the peace now when I got sprinkles some water now, we go back up. And he will. Oh man, me shock out. Nervous this morning when me hear what go on. Can't believe. I never see nothing like this here yet. What people we know in our district? We know them in our district. Yeah man, we know them in our district. I'm down in the market together and things. Oh man, we know. For the whole of we are market people. Yeah. See man here, me know me also for me a little boy. Yeah. So me never know any golfing or nothing yet. Me never hear them and there nobody have no problem, no quarrel, no cussing, nothing yet. You understand? The man here so a big man, Big man. A nice fat girl, me no know, me can't tell you yet. Yeah, but I know old somebody. You understand? Young, nice young woman. I'm Browning, me know the woman as. Me don't know nothing more. The boy will get shot when you say name. Community man, we feel it man. First one we are right now because we don't know what happened. See what happened and what go on. You understand? My name is Henry.
Red man shot dead in Bannister, St. Catherine. Police investigators are trying to establish a motive for Friday night's killing of a man in Bannister district near Old Harbour in St. Catherine. The deceased is 50-year-old O'Neill Bailey, alias Red Man, of Point Heights Lane in Bannister. Reports are that about 9:30 p.m. on Friday, residents heard loud explosions coming from a section of the community, and Bailey was later found on the roadway with gunshot wounds. The police were summoned and the scene was processed. The body was removed to the morgue pending a post-mortem examination. The Old Harbour police are probing the development. Senior cop says that recent St. James triple murder could have been avoided. The St. James police are reporting that Tuesday's triple murder in the community of Canterbury in the parish could have possibly been prevented if they had been alerted to an incident the day before. On that score, Commander of the parish's police, Superintendent Aaron Samuels, urged the residents to share information with the police in a timely manner to prevent certain crimes from occurring in the respective areas. Part of the issue we are facing is that the public needs to work with the police and provide us with information, declared Samuels at Thursday's meeting of the St. James Municipal Corporation. If we had additional information prior to the triple murder, because there was an incident that happened the night before the murders, said Samuels, who did not provide details relative to the earlier incident. If we had known about it, then all of this would have been avoided. So we are asking residents to work with the police so we can ensure your safety and security, he added. The deceased in the triple murder incident, all of Upper King Street, Montego Bay addresses have been identified as 62-year-old fisherman David West, 26-year-old Rashawn Antonia Williams, who was unemployed, and the 17-year-old student Jadon Verrell Bennett. Samuels cited that from June 9 to July 9, we went without a murder in St. James. However, Tuesday's killings broke that murder-free run in the parish that has for some years now been the most murderous among the geographical police divisions nationally. Fortunately, we had responded the way we ought to, which was instantly, and we were able to seize 2 firearms from the main suspect. He fled the scene, however he turned himself in based on the pursuit we had on him, Samuels outlined. Reports from the police are that the bodies of the 3 men were found with gunshot wounds in different sections of their community. They were all pronounced dead at the hospital. Woman awarded over $100 million in damages after surgery at a Cornwall Regional Hospital left her paralyzed. One of the highest Supreme Court awards for medical negligence in the sum of more than $100 million with interest has been awarded to a 49-year-old woman who is now paralyzed after undergoing a spinal decompression surgery at the Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James in October 2015. Justice Maxine Jackson last week ordered the defendants, the Western Regional Health Authority, operator of the hospital, and the Attorney General of Jamaica to compensate the claimant, Nicole Ann Fullerton Clark. For general damages, the claimant was awarded $70 million for pain and suffering, $8.6 million for future home care, $5.2 million for future loss of income, $1.8 million for future medication, $2.9 million for daily living, diapers and gloves, $720,000 for future doctor's visit and physiotherapy, $360,000 for future transportation, and US $23,353 for motorized wheelchair. She was awarded special damages of $6.1 million for loss of income, $1.9 million for extra help, home care, $627,294 for medical expenses, and $120,000 for transportation. The claimant, who was represented by attorney at law Catherine Minto, who was previously instructed by Nunez Schoolfield, De Leon and the company, had sued the health authority and the government. The claimant, who is now bedridden, had stated that the hospital owed a duty of care to her in relation to the treatment provided. In 2015, the claimant, who resides in the parish of Trelawney, was experiencing tingling in her fingers with numbness and swelling to her right leg and was referred to the neurosurgery clinic for treatment. She was diagnosed with having surgical myelopathy at the C3-5 levels of the spine. This is a condition where the space level around the spinal column narrows, compressing a section of nerve tissue, and was caused by cervical disc herniations at the C3-4, C4-5, and the C5-6 levels. According to the claimant, a recommendation for surgery was made after she had only been examined twice by the neurosurgery clinic at the defendant's hospital. She claimed that the surgery recommended was not the standard of care for treating her condition, as it causes instability of the spinal column, progression of cervical disc herniation, and the kyphotic deformity of the cervical portion of the spinal column. No alternative or non-surgical treatment was recommended or explored by the hospital before advising her to undergo surgery. She said she was not advised on all the risks associated with the surgery and was not advised to seek a second expert opinion. The surgery was performed on October 18, 2015, and the claimant said she was now left with more severe personal injuries and a permanent physical disability. She said before the surgery she was still able to walk and was able to work and carry out her daily activities. Some of the particulars of the 29 injuries that the claimant is now suffering from are paraplegia, severe quadriparesis, cramps affecting the muscles and the extremities, inability to sit up or bathe without assistance, worsening or progression of disc herniation, tongue jerk and the difficulty speaking at times, right foot in fixed, deformed and immobile position, depression and the psychological issues caused by the worsening of her physical condition. She also now has a partial permanent disability in 72% of the whole person, as well as increased the risk of death and or shortened life expectancy. The defendants, who were represented by attorney at law Faith Hall, instructed by the Director of State Proceedings, did not call any witnesses at the hearing. The defendants did not accept liability and asserted that neither the hospital nor its servants were negligent in the performance of the surgical procedure. They stated in their defense that the claimant was evaluated by a senior neurosurgeon with 4 decades of experience, and she was offered the only possibility of improvement given the clinical and the radiological findings. The hospital reiterated that all the risks associated with the procedure were adequately explained to the claimant, and she signed an informed consent document accepting that she fully understood the procedure and its risk. The defendant stated that the claimant presented with a progressive neurological disorder. The MRI imaging demonstrated a compression of the cervical cord by extensive ossification of the posterior longitudinal ligament in front of the spinal cord. This is a well-known and a potentially correctable cause of myelopathy. According to the defendants, the operation achieved the objective of decompressing the spinal cord, and she was no worse following the surgery. However, after several weeks, despite aggressive care, it became apparent that the OPLL was a red herring, and her progressive neurological decline was on the basis of an as-yet defined degenerative disorder, possible autoimmune or demyelinating in origin. Thank you everyone for watching. See you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for another news update.